Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michal Kabat, and I'm one of the 4 speakers, IT consultants, your company hired to make an analysis of your description of your future online retail website. And as you may already know, it is not a straightforward process to develop such a website and to proceed to the online market, internet market, because there are a number of regulations and law you need to abide and you need to implement in your solution so that you can be 100% legal. Well, it is not a straightforward process, and therefore there are individual fields of interests and different regulations belong to these fields. And as I already said, it is not only myself this afternoon, but I will have 3 other colleagues, and each of us are going to talk about different fields and legislation. Well, after me speaking about e-commerce sales, there will be Roman and his intellectual property issues, followed by Miro and his cybercrime, hackers and security, and the whole speeches will conclude Peter with his selling client information. But now it's me and e-commerce sales. As you may probably, or most of you can imagine, buying an item over the internet some 20 years ago was not as straightforward and not as safe and secure as it is now. One of the reasons for that is that the internet was meant to be a medium of freedom, and there was no regulations or standards when it comes to online shopping. And when first of the retailers started with their shops, there were some security issues. The process wasn't standardized, wasn't generalized, and therefore this was taken by advantage by the different thieves, data thieves and hackers, which took control of the websites and gathered some data, for example, credit card information and so on. And this then the internet as a medium was discredited as a secure medium for online sales, and people had concerns using it. Well, then it was concluded that some regulations and standards are needed, and now how do you want to make standards for the internet as an international medium? Now different countries implemented their own solutions, their own laws and regulations, so that that the companies situated in their countries need to abide. And as you are a UK-based company, we are going to talk about UK laws and regulations today. When it comes to e-commerce sales, we have different legislation here in the play. Regulations implemented solely by the UK, and regulations as an implementation of European Union directives. The European Union is a big player in internet legislation when it comes to security and when it comes to online shopping, and all the directives need to be implemented by all of its membership countries at the end of the day, and UK was one of the 3 first. Now, the first one you see, the consumer protection regulations, that is a UK-specific regulation. The second one is an implementation of the European Union directive. The 2 of them more or less say the same things and mention which kind of information needs to be provided before the customer buys an item and after he buys an item, and some other rules I'm going to talk about later on. And then there is a more recent 2011 so-called cookie law, which most of the websites were affected because most of the websites nowadays use cookies. Now let's get back to the first 2 laws, and let me provide an example. Most of you probably know eBay website, and it is a good example of what kind of information the customer needs to see before they buy a product. So first one, obviously, it is a custom, or it is a company name along with geographical address, email address, VAT number, and so on. Then it is a good idea to mention the item name and item description. The more exact, the better. Along with the price, including VAT, that is a legal requirement as well. Along with the price come postage, and also you need to estimate the delivery time, and also kinds of payments and additional charges if there are some. And last but not least is returns and cancellations, which is a major part of this regulation as well. You as an or every single internet online retailer needs to accept the item back in 7 days if the customer changes their mind. However, you as a fashion company may know that there are some exceptions. For example, when you make a customized item, the cancellation policy doesn't apply to that. So if, for example, somebody wants a scarf with their own name on it, the 7-day cancellation doesn't apply to that. So that's this is about the first two legislations. Now the third one, the cookie law. It's been here for a while, but the last amendment in 2011 made most of the internet selling companies to change their websites. Until 2011, the only thing you needed to provide was an option for the user whether they want to store the cookies or not. Since 2011, you need the user's consent. So the user needs to say, "I allow you to store some of the information in my browser, on my machine, on my desktop." Now, just to briefly explain what is a cookie, let's say this nice website has a very interesting feature of choosing a language in which the article is going to display. And if a user clicks on Spanish version, closes his browser and opens it again, then the Spanish version will still be displayed in the browser. And this is done by means of cookies, which stores this piece of information. And it sounds as a useful feature, it may sound, but now imagine that we use this to gather information about which item you browsed, and then we can sell this to a third-party advertising software. How does this sound? And Peter is going to talk about it later, about selling different personal information to third parties. What we are interested in is cookies. So the biggest change is when a user first accesses the website, and it can't be seen here because the projector is too high, but there's a small message about saying that we have placed cookies on your computer to help make this website better, and so on. The idea of the consent was a button, yes or no, I accept you to store the cookies on my computer, or no, I don't. Now most of the websites, because they need to use cookies for the websites to function normally, they just use this message: if you are happy with saving or allowing us to save your cookies on your machine, just continue browsing. If not, close the browser. The third part, or the third most important thing, is in the footer, and there are some disclaimers and statements which needs to be displayed all over the website. Particularly privacy, cookies, and data protection. As I said, Peter is going to speak about data protection. What we are interested in is cookies. If you click on that, you need to implement this statement of compliance, and also you need to provide a list of different cookies which are used for which purpose, different category of that, and whether it is possible to enable or disable them. But as I said, you can take and move this burden onto a different website. There's a website collecting all these articles, which is called aboutcookie.org, and they just have a set of these cookie-related, or generally speaking, privacy, data protection-related articles, which you can just link onto in your website. Now, Also, when it comes to online shopping, you also want to make your, for example, make your payments to be safe and secure. But this is much more, well, it's not sophisticated, but it is much more technical part. I'm not going to mention it, but Miro is going to mention something about security later on. But now you may be interested in how to protect your ideas against your competition. And this is something which Roman is going to talk about now. Thank you very much. Roman.